And we are joined none other by 7-time Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion, Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, and somebody who has wheeled his way around Texas in the victory lane quite a few times. New surface, new configuration. Do you feel like you have it in you to conquer it again this weekend?
I have it in me, but I think it's a clean sheet of paper. You can't pick a favorite right now. This anytime there's a reconfiguration, a new asphalt, it's a total game changer. So all of past history is now out the window, and it's like we're coming here for the first time.
Okay, we'll open the floor up for questions. We'll start with Bob, then go to Claire.
Bob Hockris, ESPN. Have you seen data from biometric devices of other drivers at all? And because I'm asking because you've always felt like your fitness level has helped you, but I'm curious. But that's almost been anecdotal. Have you gotten any actual data that shows that your fitness level helps you?
It compared to others.
Yes. Yeah. Like if you could see Dale Juniors and see Casey Kane's and see Chase's, you might actually have an idea of whether
the biometric stuff that we have, it's very limiting in what it tells you. I think more than anything, when I look at it, and the only time I see it is if somebody posts it to Twitter or whatever, and I can see it there. We all have different max heart rates, and that doesn't give you any indication of their fitness level. We just all have a different heart rate zone that we work in. So I see some people have a much higher heart rate than myself. Mine's lower. It's just the way that I am. Your fitness level is more representative by how quickly you recover and how low your resting heart rate is. And it's very difficult to see on there where that is. And if you're able to sit on a bike and be given a set amount of watts or some kind of baseline effort and then judge heart rate on it, would be easier to understand how you stack up to someone. But I think it's good information. I think we've been it's better information for the fans, and people think that we're just sitting on our couch and it's not a tough environment. So I think it's helped show that, hey, look, the heart rate is up. It's up for 4 or 5 hours. I'm averaging 130, 135 heart rate through a 4-hour period of time, and anybody that goes out for a run and tries to carry that heart rate for 4 hours, they're going to be on the side of the road pretty quick. So I think it helps us tell the story that we are athletes inside these cars more than I can look at another driver's limited biometrics and say, they had a more difficult time than I did or learn anything from it.
We'll go next to Claire, then to Mark, then to Brant, then to Jeff, and Joe.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I have a question and a quick follow-up. You are a master at breaking tracks down until you get it, a corner, a turn, a track. We talk about the teams preparing and getting ready for the unknown this weekend. How do you digest and break this down as the driver?
Getting started, just look at the big areas of speed. It's not about the fine details. Hopefully the baseline run or two, you get the big issues out of the way, and then you can get into those little details. And honestly, those little details is where Chad and I do our best work. The bigger pieces we've seemed to struggle with over the years, and once we get on the right trail, we can extract a lot out of the little detailed areas.
Quick follow-up. I watched the video of you shushing down the mountain, and you're obviously a very good skier and very smooth. But I thought initially, does he not worry about falling and breaking a leg or something? Do you ever worry about that or think about that when you're off going down the mountain with a GoPro?
Yeah, I think about it, and I think I manage my risks. I know that my team owner is at least okay with me being out there. I'd look at the or the video I posted recently, and I'm on a very low pitch, very wide open powder snow. I mean, it's the best, and nobody around. It was in this private area of the mountain. We were riding in this cat to get out to it. So I felt like I was managing my risk pretty damn well to go into that environment. But you can get run over by a car cycling, running. You can step off the curb in front of a bus. I feel like every driver is willing to take certain risks for their fitness and to live their life. And me being on those skis, it's more about living my life and doing something I enjoy. I've been doing this for way too long, and if I stay in this little quarantined area, I might go Carl Edwards, and I want to do that. So I need to live my life, and this is the way I do it. And sure, there's a lot of drivers right now getting fit. A lot of guys are choosing to ride the bike. Somebody's going to fall and get hurt. It just happens. And I hope that everybody in this room, and I hope our fans, don't overreact. I mean, we have to live our lives. And we didn't develop these out-of-control tendencies in a race car by sitting in a rubber room playing chess. I mean, we got to live our lives. So I say all that because at some point somebody will get hurt, and I just don't want there to be an overreaction. I guess that's it.
I spent way too much time in a rubber room playing chess. Go to Mark.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Jimmy, recently Eddie Gossage talked about how he's been after NASCAR for a long time to slow the cars down, that he defies race fans to tell the difference between 185 and 200, that you and your fellow drivers could put on a better show at 185. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't disagree. I feel like the driver council gave the drivers a collective opportunity to share the same thing and to have the same voice. And when you look at the rules package from 2015 till now, the goal has been to create off-throttle time and slow down the center of corner speed from a safety perspective and from a race quality perspective. So it's a direction the sport's been going in, and I think the next step is looking at the tracks and trying to create more lanes, and certainly to look at the asphalt and what type of asphalt we put down. And I commend Texas Motor Speedway for looking around at recent repaves and tracks that showed the highest tire wear in Kentucky and what we're going to come on, drive on today. There's been a big effort made in creating some texture in the track to help promote tire wear and to slow the cars down over the course of a run. We don't mind going fast for 5 or 10 laps, but when you get in the heart of the run, we need fall off, we need tire wear. That's only going to create more passing. Nobody's going to notice a 5 or 10 mile an hour speed difference, but you're going to notice a massive difference in entertainment as the cars can run side by side.
We'll go next to Brant, then to Jeff, then to Joe.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. Knowing that you must expect to get up to speed here and be a threat again since after the reconfiguration, is it all frustrating or worrisome that a place that's been a real chip for you, especially in the playoffs, is now an unknown quantity when you come here this time?
I hadn't thought of it that way. Phoenix, the repave and reconfiguration of Phoenix certainly brought me some heartburn. I guess maybe I learned my lesson in that, and I can't do much about it. And at 16 years in the sport, I'm at a point where a lot of these surfaces are going to change. So it just comes with the territory. I haven't thought much about this one, but the Phoenix repave definitely messed with my mojo for a while.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Jimmy, on a very basic level, and please describe this like I'm a dumbass, which I may be. How do you go out on a brand new track that you've never been up to full speed before and lay down what should be a fast lap on new tires and everything? How do you know what to do? How do you know when to lift and all that stuff?
We will definitely tiptoe our way into it. And past history of this track, especially in 3 and 4, it looks pretty similar. I was out there in a rent-a-car. 1 and 2 is way different. So just trial and error. And I think the big issue we're going to deal with today is how quickly the rubber goes down. When I went out and drove around last night, I know the Tire Monster has been here, but there's just nothing like the real thing. And putting rubber down where we're going to run. I think in 3 and 4, it's pretty straightforward where we'll run. Over here, I don't know if we're going to run the bottom. From going into the corner and where all that real estate now is in that low lane, it's a pretty big transition off the straightaway to get down there. Just trial and error. We'll go out there and find visual reference points on the wall and use that as a lift point, judge how that corner went, maybe a little further. And I guess maybe one of the basic things that we'll do is look for visual reference points and systematically work our way up to speed from lift points, braking points, and also back to gas points around the track.
We'll go to Joe, then to Jerry.
Joe Manzer, FoxSports.com over here. You kind of got into some of this already, but when it comes right down to it, and I know it's a clean slate and all that, but on Sunday's race, do you see the repay being a bigger factor, or the reconfiguration of turns 1 and 2 being a bigger factor in the race itself?
I would say the asphalt itself. Tire wear has been so high here. In any caution, you'd take tires. Otherwise, you'd be lapped right away, and we won't have that issue. We'll probably scuff every set of tires that NASCAR will give us. We might put cold tires on, but they're not going to be worn out. You might have a little speed on the front side of a run with cold right side tires. I doubt we'll put many left side sets on. So I think the asphalt itself is going to be a bigger factor in this first race. As time goes on, I think the extra real estate we have in 1 and 2 will become more of the story, but getting started, it's going to be tire wear related in the asphalt.
Thank you.
Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, KickingTires.net and PRN. Not a racing question, but logistically, and I know it's expensive to have it, but can you talk about having your plane and using it to get across the country to races or sponsor stuff? You're probably aware that across all forms of motorsports, a lot of people had problems logistically yesterday and today, even still getting places and getting to the tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's obviously very expensive, and once you get to a certain level in the Cup Series and the sponsor obligations are there, it's a necessary evil to have. It's a massive luxury for sure. Over the course of time, the teams have really ramped up their aviation departments, and somebody like Kyle Larson, I know he was talking about it last week, or 2 weeks ago, no, it was last week, about flying commercial and using team planes. I went 2 or 3 years of hitching rides with Gordon, flying team planes and commercial, and then eventually I got to a point where I needed mine. It's a necessary evil for driver and team. If our crew members especially had to worry about flying commercial and delays, worrying about set hours, we'd be so inefficient and not be able to perform at the level we need to just due to time away from the shop. And heck, you might not even make it here for practice when it opens up.
Jimmie, thanks for taking the time to join us, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.